Cyrus Bennett was seconds away from death. The mysterious woman in a cleaning uniform saved his life, then disappeared without a trace. No records, no trail. But Cyrus wouldn't give up. He would find this woman and discover why she saved him. Or die trying. This is a story about the thin line between trust and betrayal. A powerful man and a woman victimized by the system. Their meeting wasn't coincidence. But the outcome would be more dangerous than either could predict. Morning light filtered through the long white curtains of the Halbert Hotel's banquet hall, casting a soft glow on the crystal glasses and silver cutlery. The breakfast event for Bennett Global's inner circle of investors began at 8 a.m., true to Cyrus Bennett's style, precise, discreet, and uncompromising. He sat at the center table clad in a charcoal gray suit with a dark navy tie, one hand adjusting his collar as his sharp gaze swept the room. The quiet murmurs, polite laughter, and delicate clinking of cutlery created the signature symphony of an elite gathering. Beside him, Elise Monroe, his fiancée and Bennett Global's director of communications, was conversing with a Japanese investor. Cyrus paid little attention. His eyes rested on the glass of orange juice placed in front of him a few minutes ago. An attentive gesture, but not something he had ordered. Oddly enough, Cyrus despised orange juice. He hated its artificial sweet and sour flavor. He picked up the glass not to drink, but to swirl the golden liquid gently, narrowing his eyes. "Don't drink that." The voice came neither loud nor urgent, but sharp enough to cut through the refined air like a blade. Cyrus tilted his head. The speaker was a woman in a dark blue janitor's uniform, her hair neatly tied back, gloved hands holding a damp rag. She stood by a large column near the buffet table, as if she just happened to be passing by. "What did you say?" Cyrus asked, his voice calm as if responding to a weather report. "There's something in it," she replied, without meeting his gaze, her tone low enough that only he could hear. "That's not regular orange juice. If you trust me, put the glass down. If not, drink it and see for yourself." Then she turned away. Cyrus set the glass on the table. He was a cautious man, one who'd been betrayed before by those closest to him. The woman's seemingly absurd warning gave him a chill far more than it confused him. He motioned to his personal assistant, Daniel. "Take this glass away. Now." An hour later, after the event ended and the investors had departed, Cyrus sat in a temporary office on the hotel's 9th floor, staring at his tablet screen. The report from an independent lab had just arrived. Findings: low concentration of scopolamine, a sedative known for inducing short-term memory loss and mild behavioral control. Risk: high if the subject has never been exposed. Effects begin within 15 to 30 minutes. Cyrus leaned back in his chair, his palms slowly curling into a fist. He wasn't surprised the drink was tainted. What surprised him was that someone had warned him without asking for anything in return. That evening, Cyrus returned to the service floor and requested to meet the cleaning staff. The department head, Linda, pointed to a list. This morning shift had 4 cleaners for the lobby, 2 men, 1 older gentleman, and a girl we just hired last week. Name's Nora Reyes. I want to see her. Linda frowned. She left early. Didn't leave a reason, but I have her internal extension. Cyrus took the hastily scribbled number. He dialed. No answer. But as he walked toward the maintenance area, he heard a faint sound, the soft swish of a mop sliding across tiles. And there she was, Nora, mopping the hallway. No sign of surprise, no attempt to flee, just calm eyes and steady hands. "Why did you do it?" Cyrus asked. Nora paused, didn't answer right away. Her gaze lingered on the scuff mark from his leather shoes. "You're important," she said, her tone as neutral as if reading a washing machine manual. "Someone like you dying over a glass of juice. That's just an ugly way to go," she added. "I just hate ugly deaths." "Who are you?" "A janitor," she replied, bending down to scrub the stain. "But also someone who once stopped a death by orange juice. Today was the 2nd time." He stood there for a few seconds, unsure whether to feel cautious, grateful, or deeply unsettled. A woman with no notable traits, no status, no record, and no reason to save him. Yet she showed up at the perfect moment, as if pre-programmed.
"You should know," Cyrus spoke slowly, "I don't trust anyone who does good things without wanting something in return."
Then think I'm crazy, Nora shrugged. At least you're still alive. That night, Cyrus couldn't sleep. He called Daniel. "Investigate Nora Reyes immediately. She's not normal." Daniel paused. "We couldn't find a matching record. No official documents, no driver's license, no tax ID. She basically doesn't exist in the system." "Then who hired her?" "The record shows she was brought in by a third-party cleaning agency. Shift-based contract." "She's hiding something," Cyrus said, certain now. "She's hiding something. But if she wanted to harm me, she wouldn't have warned me." "And maybe she's the one being hunted," Daniel suggested. Cyrus folded his arms under the dim light, his eyes shimmering with something between suspicion and curiosity. Who was the woman who saved him? And how did she know everything in advance? Impossible. Cyrus Bennett stared at the thin folder on his desk inside his private office on the 42nd floor of Bennett Global's headquarters. Across from him sat Daniel, his most trusted assistant, wearing an uneasy expression. "We checked every database, federal archives, Social Security. There's no one named Nora Reyes born in the last 40 years who matches her appearance, fingerprints, or administrative records. No driver's license, none. No health insurance, none. No educational background, nothing at all." Cyrus leaned back in his chair, fingers laced beneath his chin. He wasn't unfamiliar with people living off the grid, but this case was too clean, too deliberate. "Then why is she working as a janitor?" Daniel shrugged. "The cleaning company hired her 8 months ago through a referral and an anonymous payment. Apparently she has no criminal record, no criminal history." Cyrus sighed, then let out a soft chuckle. "She's a ghost." Daniel shook his head. "Not a ghost, but definitely not ordinary." That afternoon, Cyrus returned to the Halbert Hotel, no longer in his corporate suit. He wore a white dress shirt and light gray slacks, just another hotel guest. He made his way down to the maintenance level and found the janitor's supply room. The steel door was ajar. Inside, under the dim flicker of a fluorescent bulb, stood shelves of mops, buckets, cleaning supplies, and a wooden chair where Nora sat bent over tying her shoelace. She didn't flinch when she saw him. "Still alive." "Still conscious?" Cyrus replied, stepping in. Nora stood, brushing off her hands. "Shouldn't you be busy running an empire? What brings you to a basement like this?" "You know who I am. I clean floors. I'm not blind." Cyrus smiled, then looked at her directly. "Let me ask you straight. Who are you?" Nora looked up. For the first time, Cyrus saw her eyes clearly. Deep, composed, but carrying something long since shattered. "I used to be someone else. I had a real name, records, ID photos," she said. "Then one day all of it was erased. Not because I committed a crime, because I spoke the truth in a system built on lies." Cyrus narrowed his eyes. "More specific. Not your business. Have you ever worked in security? Your observation skills, the way you talk, doesn't feel like a janitor." Nora gave a faint laugh. "You'd be surprised how many people with advanced degrees end up starting over from the bottom." "So it's true then, you were cast out by the system." Nora didn't answer. She stepped over to a plastic shelf, pulled out a bottle of bleach, then turned to him. "People like me don't exist in your world. And if we do, we're stains an organization wants to scrub away. I'm not here for pity. I just want a quiet life." "But you weren't quiet that day, because you were about to drink poison, and if I hadn't been, if you were just a random guest, I would have still spoken up. I don't rank people by their titles. I rank them by whether they deserve to be saved.
and that morning you still seemed salvageable. The penthouse on Park Avenue overlooked Central Park, where the late autumn trees were blazing gold. But Cyrus Bennett's mind wasn't on the Manhattan skyline. It was on the diamond ring Elise Monroe was holding in front of him. "This is a custom Cartier design, made specifically for our engagement announcement," she said, her tone gentle, but her eyes held that familiar pressure. "We need to make the official announcement next Thursday. Modern Legacy magazine already reserved the cover." Cyrus leaned against the armrest of the chair, his eyes cold. "I never agreed to this." "Cyrus," Elise reached for his hand, her touch soft like affection, but he knew better. She had never loved him. "Announcing the engagement will restore confidence from the board, especially after you refused to reinvest in Juno Labs. People are asking questions. So marriage is your way of silencing rumors. It's how we reinforce the brand. I've given 6 years to Bennett Global's media presence, Cyrus. I'm not asking for much. Just stand next to me." He didn't answer. Elise withdrew her hand and smiled with perfect calm, the kind of smile that made his skin crawl. It wasn't real, just like everything else about her. That evening, Cyrus stayed late at the office. He opened his laptop and accessed the company's highest-level internal investment system. Something odd caught his attention. A $12 million allocation had been approved for a creative partnership fund with his digital signature attached. Problem was, he'd never signed it. He zoomed in on the e-signature. It was his, but on closer inspection, it showed evidence of being accessed from an unfamiliar IP address, one tied to the company's PR department, where Elise worked. Cyrus began tracing the pattern. Over the past 3 months, at least 5 major documents had been altered, all dealing with investments, transfers, or financial control, and all signed under his name. He sat in silence for hours, his desk flooded with printed documents under the dim light. Something was deeply wrong. Not just misuse of power. This was a calculated, deliberate operation. 1 week later, Elise walked into Cyrus's office, wearing a wine-red dress, makeup flawless, and a rehearsed smile in place. "The shoot starts at 11 a.m. tomorrow at the Halbert," she said. "Then we'll have an exclusive interview. I already booked a stylist for you. You don't have to worry about a thing." Cyrus said nothing. He looked at her the way one might admire a finely carved statue, flawless but lifeless. "Elise," he said slowly, "what if I cancel tomorrow?" "I'll smile and find another way," she replied, winking. "You know me. I never let a closed door stay shut." That night, Cyrus summoned Daniel to his home. On the oak table were copies of all the compromised files. Daniel flipped through them, eyes tense. "You think Elise forged your signature?" "Not just that. She's manipulating the ownership structure, subtly, gradually. No one's noticed. She's staging a takeover." "No, Daniel," Cyrus replied, eyes sharp as a blade. "She's planning to replace me." Daniel froze. "And the engagement?" "A facade," Cyrus said softly. "If I am accused of financial misconduct, shareholders would turn to her as a clean replacement. If I stay quiet, she gets legitimized as my partner and gains executive power." The next morning, Elise stood before the mirror, adjusting her hair. Cyrus watched from behind, silent. He wore a light gray suit, white shirt, no tie. There was something different in his eyes, but Elise didn't notice. She was too used to being in control. "You okay?" she asked. Cyrus nodded. "Just tired. After today, everything will change. We'll be New York's power couple." "We," Cyrus echoed. "Or just you?" Elise gave a soft laugh, saying nothing. The photo shoot never happened. Moments before the engagement announcement, Cyrus disappeared from the Halbert, leaving Elise alone with the production crew. Hours later, Elise received a call from Daniel. "Miss Monroe, the legal office has requested your presence on the 42nd floor to clarify a number of documents related to digital signatures. Your personal attorney has been contacted." The next day, Cyrus appeared in the lobby of the Halbert Hotel unannounced. He was dressed more casually than usual, unbuttoned blazer,
soft brown leather shoes and his tie slung loosely over one shoulder. He passed the front desk without stopping, turning down a side hallway, a place the wealthy rarely noticed, let alone entered. At the far end of the hallway he saw her, Nora Reyes, dusting a stainless steel shelf near the equipment closet. "Good afternoon," Cyrus said, stopping a few steps away. "Lose your wallet?" Nora asked without turning. "Or just looking for your memory?" "No, I was just passing by," he gave a faint smile. "Coincidence, right? Like the orange juice was a coincidence." He didn't answer, but a few seconds later Nora turned. Their eyes met, not with hostility, not quite curiosity either. It felt like they knew each other from some nameless place where trust wasn't freely given and silence meant more than words ever could. "You don't seem like the type who gets lost," Nora said. "I'm not lost. I just needed air." Cyrus stepped a little closer. "I wanted to talk about people who know too much, yet live like they know nothing. You fall into that category, don't you?" Nora didn't deny it, but something flickered in her eyes, as if he had touched a part of her she kept buried. "And you? Are you the kind who trusts too fast? Or the kind who controls everything until you trap yourself?" "Both," Cyrus exhaled, strangely honest. "I trusted the wrong people. Then I tried to control everything, and in the end no one stayed." Nora studied him for a long moment. "I don't trust easily." "Good," she nodded. "I'm not someone worth trusting easily anyway." Silence settled. Only the faint hum of a distant vacuum and flickering fluorescent lights filled the corridor. In that enclosed space they stood like strangers, but with an invisible bond, not tied by status, but by scars that hadn't healed. "Someone erased you from the world, didn't they?" Cyrus asked quietly. Nora looked up. "Yes. But I chose not to come back." "Why?" "Because coming back meant submitting to the same system that destroyed me. I chose to stay outside and stay small." "But you didn't stay small that day," he said. "You saved me." "I didn't save you." Nora shook her head. "I stopped someone from dying for trusting the wrong person. I've seen that happen before." "To who?" Her lips pressed together. Her eyes darkened, voice dropping lower. "To a former partner. He died after discovering forged files in a financial case. I spoke out, but they called me unstable, suspended me. And him? He died in a car accident. No cameras, no witnesses." Cyrus froze, not because of the story, but because it fit perfectly, like a missing puzzle piece sliding into place. Someone on the inside forging signatures, manipulating authority, covering truths wrapped in polished lies. And this time, the next target might be him. "Who did you used to investigate for?" he asked. "Doesn't matter," Nora said, avoiding his gaze. "I don't investigate anymore. I clean. Less blood involved." "But you still observe?" "Because I can't stop." Cyrus rested his hand on the edge of the metal shelf. "Someone's manipulating my system, signing documents under my name. I need to find out who's doing it." Nora looked at him for a long time, as if weighing whether to enter another battle or to walk away, like all the times before. Then she asked, "Are you really ready to trust someone with no records, no credentials, no title?" "I don't need a degree," Cyrus replied, locking eyes with her. "I need someone still sane enough to tell what's real and what's not.